What's up, guys? Mic check. 1 2 1 2. All right, let's get this started. Let's go. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to TNT Joe-Fi. Good afternoon to people in the Midwest and on the East Coast. Good morning to people on the West Coast, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. How's it going, guys? Again, this is hashtag TNT Joe-Fi, tech news that Jerome Ortega finds interesting, episode number something, because I lost count, and day number something in quarantine, because I also lost count. God, has it been 2 months in quarantine now? I think it has, or about 2 months. And June's coming up. That's crazy. It's nice and warm here in Chicago, and I can't go anywhere or do anything, and it sucks. But it is what it is. Anyway, guys, how's it going? I have a good amount of news to go over today, but before I do, I'll go through chat. We'll talk about a couple things, and I don't have a ton of stories. Actually, some of the stories I have are a little older, but that's because I didn't get a chance to go through them. And there isn't a ton of new stuff coming out right now, so I might as well kind of backtrack and talk about some of these other things. So, Brian, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Brian? How's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Levin as well. What's up? What's going on, Levin? Nice to see you in here. And then Y 2019 is in here as well. Y actually mentioned this, and I actually was going to talk about this, and I forgot to put this up as a story, but it's just funny because I think I have another Moto G story, but it's funny because, yeah, so Y says a Motorola phone has been leaked by Motorola itself. It is the Moto G Fast, so it'll be in the US. But I also just read that there is a Moto G Pro, which is a special version or a different version for Europe. There's just so many Moto G versions, and it's kind of ridiculous at this point. But yeah, I heard about that Moto G Fast. if I can find an article, maybe I'll pull it up if I have time today, but we'll see. So anyway, thanks for sharing that, Y. And then Brian with the $1 super chat. Brian, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the continued streak of super chats. This is, I don't know, super chat number whatever in a row. 40 something or 50 something. But Brian, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for that added support. I do appreciate it. Thank you for being a moderator in the chat. That's really helpful too. So thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Deepak is in here as well. Deepak Murthy. Hey, Jerome, or hi, Jerome. Hey, Deepak. How's it going, man? How you doing? Glad you could make it to the stream. Nice to see you in here. So, let's okay, Y says Moto G Pro is a renamed Moto G stylus, but they added stuff to it. I think the article that I read said that they added NFC to it, and it has faster wired charging, or maybe it comes with a faster wired charger. Anyway, if I have that article, I might go through it. I don't know if I have it pulled up here, but we have a couple of things to go over. So let's see. Mint Arcade is up late tonight. Mint Arcade, what's up, man? How you doing? Glad to see you. Hey, if you saw, I got your DM on Instagram. I did pull an article out for the Xperia 1 Mark II, but I'll go through that later if you're still awake by then. But Mint Arcade, thanks for making it, man. Glad to see you in here. Glad to see you. All right, guys, so let's get started. The one thing I want to talk about, and this is something I feel like is maybe a bit overlooked, is the Galaxy A71. So in a time right now where the iPhone SE is kind of I don't want to call it the leader, but right now with the iPhone SE priced at $400, it is one of the best deals you can get right now for a smartphone. One, because of its chipset, right? Really high performance, really well performing. Its camera is good. It's not the best, but it's a great camera still for its $400 price point. Yes, it does have a couple downsides to it. Its display, its battery isn't the best, but otherwise it's still a good deal. And my hope was that the Pixel 4a was going to be coming out relatively soon so that it could compete with the iPhone SE, but that might not be happening until July, mid-July, or at least an announcement in mid-July without an actual release until August, which is kind of upsetting because why are we waiting so long to release a phone that supposedly is done and is ready for production, but I don't know. So it begs the question, what about the Galaxy A71? If you're somebody who's not looking for an iPhone and you're looking for an Android phone and you're thinking about the $400 price point, or the $400 price point is kind of your top end, what about the Galaxy A71? For you guys who are not aware of the A71, this phone carries the same chipset that the Pixel 4a is going to carry. And it has quite a few other features. So we'll talk about it, kind of get your thoughts about it as well. So feel free to chime in the chat and let me know what you guys think. And before I do get into that article, I see Levin Williams with a $1 super chat as well. So Levin, thank you so much, man. Thank you for that added support as well. You've been now a longtime supporter as well, man, and I appreciate that. So Levin, thank you for the $1 super chat. It means a lot to me. Thank you for that extra support. Again, always thankful for you guys for that added support. So again, let's go ahead and let's get into this article. So this article from Android Central. And let me point this out as well. There's this little tidbit right up here where it says 4G is still great. And I think this is what they're going to try to aim at in this article, because this particular A71 is not the 5G version, although there is a 5G version coming out, which is apparently called the Galaxy A71 5G. But this is the 4G version at a under $400 price point. So the Galaxy A71 is Samsung's true iPhone SE competitor, but the US model is ruined by 5G. It makes me smile because it doesn't surprise me. You guys know how I feel about 5G and the big push for it, even though it's really not necessary at this point. But let's get into it. So the 4G enabled Snap 730 version of the Galaxy A71 is the perfect mid-range phone. That's a big statement right there, to call it the perfect mid-range phone. And is it because the Pixel 4a is not out yet? I don't know. I actually haven't had a chance to read this article. So Samsung released the A71 earlier this year with the phone featuring a fresh new design and upgraded internals. The Galaxy A series has grown from strength to strength in recent years. And the A51 was the best-selling Android phone globally in Q1 of 2020. Did you guys know that? I mean, it doesn't really, I've said this before, marketing numbers don't mean a lot to me, but to know that, the A51 was one of the best-selling Android phones means that there's a market for it. So that's a huge milestone for Samsung, particularly when you consider that the A51 isn't even that great. And I looked at that A51. I had considered it, but because it has a 600 series chipset, I kind of was like, I'll wait for something that'll come in the 700 series chipset, and that's where the A71 fills its place. It has a vibrant display and modern design. This is the A51 they're talking about, but the chipset doesn't hold up in day-to-day use, and the camera is average at best. So that's a thing to point out here, is the chipset doesn't hold up in day-to-day use. I have my TCL 10 Pro right here, and my TCL 10 Pro has a 600 series chipset, and it's not bad. It's actually pretty serviceable, but it does hiccup, every once in a while. This is where the Galaxy A71 comes in. The A71 has robust internals, an even bigger screen, outstanding battery life, great cameras, and the best part is the phone is launching in the US later this year. Only one downside: the variant that Samsung is releasing in the US is the 5G enabled version, and that particular model is set to retail for $600. So that's the thing. At a $600 price point, for me, it's not I wouldn't even consider it then at that price point. But if so here's the next part of this article or the next sentence in this article is: the 4G edition of the phone, meanwhile, is on sale on Amazon for $365. But because it is the global variant, you lose out on warranty. So that is something to consider, but I pulled it up here as well. So let me actually increase this a bit. So this A71, 128 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM. And so you can use it in the US for LTE. It has quad cameras in the back. Look at the display is a pretty big display, punch hole, on the top center. Android 10, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. And it says here it's factory unlocked, so you could use it with AT&T and T-Mobile, but it's not compatible with CDMA such as Verizon and Sprint. So a couple of things to consider there, but look at that price, $365. I actually put it in my cart just to see what it would total out at after taxes and whatever, and it was still under $400. It was like $387 or something. So at that price, that's not bad, and that's something that I didn't think about as far as even recommending to people, especially for somebody who might not want an iPhone, right? And they're looking for something that's Android, that's maybe something a little more recent. I believe this also has a micro SD card, right, for expandable storage. You know what? They might mention it in the article here. So Samsung has mentioned that it won't launch the 4G enabled version of the Galaxy A71 in the US, and it's missing out on a huge opportunity in the process. The $400 iPhone SE has turned the value market on its head, and with the Pixel 4a on the horizon, this article is like 4 or 5 days old now, so I don't think the news was out yet that they were going to launch the 4a later in July or even August. Which again it's such a bummer, but the competition in the mid-tier category is heating up. Samsung doesn't have a compelling enough answer in this segment. The Galaxy A51 is available unlocked for $399, but as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't hold up to scrutiny, particularly against the iPhone SE and the upcoming Pixel 4a. I just noticed I forgot to enlarge or switch the screens here, but that brings me to another question for you guys. Think about that. So would you rather spend $400 for a Galaxy A51 that has a lower chipset. I believe it has a smaller battery. I believe the cameras aren't as good. Or would you buy this international version of the A71 for $365 that you're not going to get a warranty on? Would you take that risk? So for me, if I had to choose between the two, I would go for the A71 without the warranty. I understand if that isn't what you would do, but I can't pass up on something that's going to have a better processor and a better camera and a cheaper price at the end of the day. Even if it's just by like 20 or 30 bucks, I would still pick the A71, the international A71 over this A51. Okay, let's kind of continue on here. So, the Galaxy A71 does not have those issues. It's powered by the same Snapdragon 730. That's a chipset that's set to be featured in the 4A. You get a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, but didn't this Amazon one say 4,000 milliamp hour? Can somebody in chat, if you get a chance, check on that? Yeah, because I'm not sure, but still 4,500 milliamp hour. It's still a big battery. I mean, obviously I would love to have 4,500 instead of 4,000, but let's continue on here. That easily delivers over a day's worth of use and a 64 megapixel primary camera that takes great photos. The biggest selling point is that you get a massive 6.7 inch AMOLED display on the A71. So for somebody that wants a bigger phone, that wants a big display, that's going to use it for media consumption, the A71 is probably a good choice here. Again, having a 730 chipset on there, I'm sure it's not going to be a slouch. You know, I feel like it'll perform fairly well, considering I've been using the TCL 10 Pro with the 675 chipset. And yes, even though it lags, and even though it's not my choice for a phone that lags, it's still not bad for someone who's a light user. So I can imagine a 730 chipset is going to fare better. Okay, basically, the A71 has a massive screen, excellent battery life, and great cameras. And in most parts of the world, the phone is available for around the $400 price point. The A71 version that is set to launch in the US is powered by the Exynos 980. So okay, I didn't realize that. So the A71 that's going to have 5G on it, it's not even a Qualcomm Snapdragon. And while it has the same level of performance as the 730, the fact that it will retail for $600 makes it a non-starter in the value category. And I can't disagree with that. With the 4A allegedly launching at just $350, there's just no reason to spend nearly double that for the A71. And that's a good point. I don't know what Samsung is thinking. Again, it's a markup because of 5G, just doesn't make any sense to me. And while Samsung is positioning 5G as a differentiator for the A71, the connectivity standard just isn't ready for mainstream use yet. And again, something I've been preaching time after time after time, 5G is not at the place it needs to be just yet. You shouldn't be buying a phone based on 5G. Don't make your decision on buying a phone because of 5G. It's not the priority that you need to be taking right now. Sure, 5G is rolling out to more US cities, but connectivity is still limited to a few sections within each city, and it'll be a while before 5G usage is anywhere near ubiquitous. So for now, it makes sense for Samsung to release the 4G only variant of the A71 in the US. And even if Samsung doesn't decide to bring the Galaxy A71 to the country, you should consider picking up the global variant at Amazon. For $365, you're getting a lot of value here. Hey, here's the thing: is I'm actually a little tempted to buy this phone and see how good it is. Compare it to the TCL 10 Pro I have. Compare the cameras. I think that would be a great camera comparison. I mean, the TCL 10 Pro is a $450 phone, and this is under $400. I might pull the trigger on it just to test it out, test the camera out, test the battery life, test the performance, because I really want to see how well a 730 does. So it gives me an idea of how the Pixel 4a is going to be. I don't know how you guys feel about it. In a way, I have thought about it for a bit, and I kind of have just set it aside because, you know, I just have a ton of other things happening right now, but, I don't know. I might give it a shot. Anyway, I'll go into chat here. We'll talk about it. Let me pull back up here into higher up in the chat. I see Grant is in here. Grant, hey, hashtag team phone Jerome. Hey, Grant, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. A51 probably sold well since it has a more global market, but that thing does lag. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my TCL 10 Pro, though, you know what, for a 600 series chipset, it still surprises me. Yes, it lags, but it isn't as bad as I thought, but it still lags. Like, but at the end of the day, it's still doing what it's doing. Deepak says, I had the A70, very nice phone apart from the terrible fingerprint reader on the screen. That's a good point too. I forgot about that. That A71 has a front fingerprint reader, right? And it's the same awful one, isn't it? I wonder how it fares against my TCL 10 Pro. Grant says A7 or A7, the A7 series, now A70 series, has always been Samsung's best A series phone in the mid-tier pricing. Good to know. Enforce says, what did I say, Jerome? I don't remember what you said, Enforce, but welcome to the stream. I think I'm about to, oh, here we go. A71 gives more for a given price. It is a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, with 25 watt charging. That's good to know. And Forrest, welcome to the stream, man. Nice to see you. Nice for you to chime in. Glad to see you here. Grant says, don't get the US models. Yeah, why would you? Why would you spend $600 on the US model knowing that you can get this version for $365? I don't know, guys. I might even pull the trigger on it today and get that and test it out and give you guys an analysis of that phone. That is not a bad phone for under $400. And I guess it would give me a chance to test out Samsung's UI or One UI, right? I haven't used it in a long time. The last Samsung phone I've owned was a S9 Plus, and the regular S9. I had both of them. But yeah, that wouldn't. Oh man, I might pull that trigger today. We'll see. Enforce says, haha, Exynos 980. That's how we feel in EU all this year with Exynos in high end. But we're happy to get Exynos 2021. 5G is a gimmick now. I agree. Totally agree. Paul, word. Hey, Paul, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. Nice to see you in here. Grant says A71 will destroy the TCL. I have no doubt. And that's really a good point. I think right now a lot of manufacturers are a little confused about where to price their phones at, because you have this TCL 10 Pro that's priced at $450, and yes, it does have some good pros to it, right? Build quality is really good, display is nice, but how is that even going to compare to this A71 that's priced at $365? That has very similar, or it has a better chipset. The display is going to be great on that too. Cameras are probably going to be better on it. And then Samsung wants to release a 5G version of the A71 with a different chipset that they're going to price at $600. That's crazy. That, like, what kind of pricing model is this? I feel like a lot of manufacturers are a little confused right now about where to price their phones at. And hopefully they will start getting a more consistent. Well, maybe it's a good thing that right now they're really confused, because then we vote with our wallets, right? And we buy the best phone at that best price range. Because there's a lot of, and then when you start talking about more expensive phones, right? I talked about this yesterday. Or someone in chat brought it up yesterday. The TCL 10 Pro at $450. Why wouldn't you just buy the OnePlus 7T at $499 brand new right now and get an 800 series chipset? It doesn't make any sense. I would buy the 7T over the TCL 10 Pro in a heartbeat at a $499 price tag versus $450. Yeah. Let's see here. Grant says, but you're a stock Android guy, Jerome, so maybe don't do it to yourself. I know, but I don't know. After using the TCL, and then kind of putting Nova Launcher and whatever on it, it's not so bad. I'm able to use it. Deepak says 5G is still in its infancy, just a marketing gimmick in most parts of the world. Totally agree. It's gonna get better. We don't know when that's gonna happen. So, but yeah, looking at it now, man, $365. So it says here. Well, I don't have Amazon Prime, but my mom does, so I would just use hers. But yeah, for that price, that's not bad at all. That isn't bad at all. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on, guys. Let's I see Big House is in here. Facts. Hey, Big House, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, hello everyone. What's going on, man? Nice to see you, man. All right, let's continue on, guys. Let's talk about RCS. Let me ask you guys in the chat, how many of you are using RCS right now? Any of you? I have RCS. I think one or two people who use RCS, and I don't use it because we use Telegram anyway, but let's talk about it. So this article from The Verge is talking about how T-Mobile is now supporting cross-carrier RCS messaging, but only to people with the Google Messages app right now. Here's something that's a little confusing for me, actually. Let me kind of chime in here. So Will, I don't know if you guys know who Will is. I stream with him at Friday Night Tech Talk when I'm able to get on there. Will is the one that kind of got me to get on board with RCS, and we tried it out. And Will and I are able to talk to each other on RCS once I was able to finally get it working. But he's on Visible. He's on the Visible network. I'm on the T-Mobile network. And we were able to talk to each other on RCS and use the features in RCS. So why is this saying it's supporting cross-carrier RCS messaging? Am I missing something? Is this something that is, I don't know. We were both using Android messages, so I don't know. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's go into it. So T-Mobile subscribers can now send RCS messages to people on other phone networks, so long as everyone involved has an Android phone and support for the new messaging standard. So if I'm reading this correctly, if you have RCS enabled, you can send, and you're using Android messages, you can send RCS messages, or you can use RCS technology to anyone either on Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, or whatever MVNO. Is that right? Am I understanding that right? This isn't something that you could have done in the past. So you're telling me that before this happened, I couldn't text someone with RCS who was using Verizon or AT&T? Because again, I was able to text Will, and Will's on Visible, and I'm on T-Mobile, so I'm not understanding. I don't know where the disconnect is here. There are still a bunch of caveats, but this appears to be a big step forward for RCS. The messaging standard is meant to be the successor to SMS, but its rollout has been slow and messy. Many carriers, T-Mobile included, began supporting RCS years ago, but it generally only worked between subscribers of the same phone carrier, and often only while they were using a specific carrier-made app, meaning it's been basically useless. Yeah, see, that wasn't my case, though. Today's launch gets us a lot closer to a world where RCS just works. T-Mobile is supporting RCS Universal Profile 1.0, which is the version that's supposed to enable cross-carrier messaging once other carriers support it. Carriers have been promising this for a long time, since 2017, but existing support has been limited and has come in incremental spurts. T-Mobile says nearly 40 phones on its network and on its prepaid carrier Metro are capable of supporting RCS, with more devices to come. Phones that support RCS will see delivery notifications, read receipts, and typing indicators while messaging, and they'll be able to send they'll be able to send them much larger photos and videos too. Sorry, I forget to switch the screens so you can read along with me. But it's crazy, right? We're in 2020 and Android is still stuck in this weird situation where a lot of people still can't get delivery notifications, read receipts, or typing indicators while messaging. Or the fact that photos and videos. Okay, let me ask you guys, for people who don't use RCS, for you guys who still, so here's something for me that I don't use anymore. I don't use SMS, guys. I only use SMS when I have to talk to somebody who I don't really know that well, because for the most part, I'm like, no, just text me on Telegram, right? But let me ask you, do any of you who don't use RCS, who are still sending messages through Android, do you guys send each other videos? Or let me ask, when's the last time you sent a video using Android messages? Because do you know how that person receives that video? That video quality looks like shit. it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to people who use iPhones when you send them a video through SMS and it looks like it was taken through a potato. That is fucking embarrassing. Like, it makes me, I don't want to ever send video to anyone through SMS because of that issue. And it's 2020 and we still have that issue, and hopefully this is going to solve it. Hopefully. That's the $1 million question here. There are still a bunch of limitations, of course, because T-Mobile is alone among major carriers in supporting RCS. Cross-carrier messaging is very limited right now. It's not so much cross-carrier as it is to anyone on another carrier, so long as a person is using the Google Messages app and has turned on RCS features. T-Mobile support for universal profiles should mean that once other carriers launch support, widespread cross-carrier messaging should start working, but there's no ETA from other carriers on when that'll happen. I don't understand why other carriers wouldn't, have this feature available. Currently, iPhones don't support RCS, so this whole thing is meaningless if you're messaging someone who owns an Apple device. And why would Apple even encourage RCS? They have their iMessaging system and they want people to stay on iMessage. So I can't even see them enabling RCS for any reason whatsoever that would benefit them. Yes, it would benefit us as the consumer. It would benefit the industry, the technology industry, the telecom industry as a whole, but Apple will not do that. I can't see them doing that at all. In the US, the largest RCS rollout so far has come thanks to Google, which has started to just turn the feature on for some messages users by relying on its own RCS system. T-Mobile support should mean that a lot more people will now be capable of sending and receiving those messages, but the big change won't come until Verizon and AT&T enable cross-carrier RCS support too. So yeah, nice to see. Again, I'm a little confused because I thought I've been able to send it to other people, but I've only tested it with, I think, 2 people top. So yeah, it's not, obviously it's an anecdotal thing for me. Okay, let me scroll up here. Who did I miss? Sorry, I'm just going through chat. I see Terrence in here. Terrence Benjamin, thanks for this. Hey, Terrence, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. So let's see here. Paul saying, really? I looked it up. Cheapest in Holland is $385, like $400. Are you talking about the A71 that we were talking about? Anyway, because on Amazon for me, it's showing for $365. Grant says, Jerome, I think they mean RCS across carriers with their messaging app. Oh, you mean without using Android messages, just a universal, whatever messaging app. And that makes a lot of sense. If you use RCS with messages, it should be cross carrier. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Grant. I appreciate you saying that. Paul's saying, yeah, A71. I gotcha. Okay, scrolling down. Sorry, Terrence says, agreed. I use mostly WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp for a while, but I really enjoy Telegram. I like it a lot. It is. I need to make a video about Telegram just to share it so people can understand how much stuff you can do on it. I mean, even sending video. And that's the only thing you can't do right now, I think, on Telegram is you can't do video chat. Or you can't do React messages, which is annoying. It has so many features except for that, and I don't get that. Brian says videos are trash on Android SMS. Yeah, it's awful. It is so awful. Deepak says here in Europe, Telegram is booming much more than WhatsApp. That's good to know. I love Telegram. I could speak about Telegram all day. I need to put a video out for that. There's so much going on. Video sent through RCS is much better than SMS. Yes. So I think I tried that with Will and it worked. It worked flawlessly. I was so happy to see an actual video file go through properly. N4 says he either sends videos through WhatsApp or Viber. Deepak says videos in Android have never had a love story. Yeah, they should. I don't see how it would encroach on iMessage. Here's the thing though, Terrence, if Apple enabled, I don't know. If Apple enabled RCS on its messaging app, I wonder how that would work. Because if they did, I guess they would still get read receipts and they would get I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe that's a fair point. Maybe it wouldn't encroach on iMessage. Apple would still get iMessage when they send it to other Apple users, and then when they send it to Android, then they'll get a different blue bubble instead, a dark blue bubble. I think that's what it is, right? For Android or for RCS, it's a dark blue bubble. But yeah, Grant says yes, videos over Android SMS look like garbage. Yeah, they're awful. Okay, so yeah, you guys are right. I know Verizon wants people to use their messaging app. I've never used. I've never had Verizon because I couldn't spend the money on Verizon, but I've never used their messaging app. And Forrest says I saw RCS on my friend's iPhone. It's just WhatsApp pre-installed on your phone. Nothing special. They should bake it into iMessage. Yeah, I could see that. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to be able to go through everything. I'm just kind of going through some of the chats here. SMS with extended functionality like video is called MMS here, but the system for it got shut down. Marshall, hey, Marshall, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. Carriers are waiting to enable RCS until they can force every message to end with sent via AT&T/Verizon's nationwide 5G E plus max service. Oh my God, no, please not. Please don't. Sean, with the support, smash the like button. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for that added support there. Grant says my parents have iPhones and only know iMessage, so I have an iPhone for that. My sister has Android, and I make her send videos, photos over WhatsApp since she doesn't have Telegram. Fair enough. And I've said this before. I've said this before in my stream many times. The thing that Apple got right with iMessage is the fact that I hate to say it, it just works. When you get the phone and you start using it and you open the messages app, iMessage is already there. There's no turning anything on. When I'm going to share the story again. When I tried to get RCS to work, I had to go into the settings. I had to switch RCS on. And even after I switched it on, it still didn't work. I had to use some weird loophole where I had to go into the actual settings for texting and change something, restart something. I can't remember the exact steps, but it took steps that most people could not do or would not even bother to do to get it to work. I eventually got it to work. And now that it is working, it's great. I can see when someone's typing. I can see read receipts. I haven't tested it out recently to check about like reaction messages, but yes, once it's working, it's great. And hopefully in the future, in future phones or future technology or whatever, it's just going to work like iMessage. But at least Apple got that right. And you got to give credit to Apple for doing that properly. Okay, so Deepak says you can send up to 1.5 gigs of files on Telegram. Huge advantage over WhatsApp. I've sent so much shit on Telegram. I mean, I'll screen record stuff right on the fly, and then I'll send it right over. It's awesome. I love it. I see Toba's in here too. Toba's, hey man, I haven't seen you in a bit. Toba's Noajagu. What's up, guys? What's up, Toba's? Nice to see you. Okay, let me it just works. Okay. Okay, guys, real quick before I switch over to the next story. Yes, like Sean said earlier, if you guys haven't already, please feel free to like the video. Liking the video or liking the stream helps me in an algorithmic kind of way. I think really what I'm trying to say, it helps people find the stream, helps people talk in the chat, engage in the community, and it's support and support that I really appreciate. If you guys haven't subscribed already or you're new to the channel, I do stream Mondays through Fridays daily. We talk about tech. We spend about an hour talking about random things in tech, engage in the community. So feel free to be a subscriber. And if you see anybody in the chat with a green name and a red Chicago star next to their name, that is because they are a member of my channel. They are part of the Phone Jerome squad, team, crew, community, whatever you want to call it. And you can be part of that too for as cheap as 99 cents a month. And here's my little plug. You can be a member of this channel. All you got to do is click the join button. And for as little as 99 cents a month, you get that red Chicago star. You get to use custom emoji. I just added a new one in here. It's a Birdman emoji. It's where Birdman is like rubbing his hands together, getting excited for something. Anyway, and the more members that join, the more emoji that they give me to use. And right now I have, what is that? 8. Anyway, there are different tiers as well. So all you got to do is click that join button, or if you can't find it, just go to youtube.com/phone Jerome/join. Your name also goes on the very beginning and end of all of my live streams, and I'll leave it at that. That's my little marketing spiel. So let's get back into the news here, and let's talk about Apple. Let's switch sides here. Let's talk about Apple. And I have this article from Mac Rumors that is talking about how Apple is planning to stick with the Lightning port over USB-C for the iPhone 12 before going portless next year. This isn't surprising for me. I feel like if Apple is planning to actually truly go portless, and by portless, I mean Apple is planning to have no connections on their phone whatsoever. No headphone jack, no Lightning port, nothing. Completely sealed from, top to bottom, on the sides, all around. Why would Apple switch over to USB-C for 1 year if they plan on going portless? They might as well just finish it off with the Lightning port. They've been making so much money on that Lightning port already as it is, so why would they switch? So let's get into it, and we can talk about how you guys feel about portless. I'll give you my thoughts on it as well. Okay, so Apple will use a Lightning port instead of USB-C in the upcoming iPhone 12, but it'll be the last major series of Apple's flagship phones to do so. It's kind of weird here because this is the first time I'm seeing something so concrete. They're saying it so confidently that the iPhone 13 won't have a port. You think they're going to call it an iPhone 13? I know people associate the number 13 with unlucky or like evil or whatever. Well, that's 6. They had an iPhone 6, so maybe they will have a 13. Anyway, with models set to combine wireless charging and a portless smart connector system for data transfer and syncing in the iPhone 13 series next year. The above claim from occasional Apple leaker and Twitter user Fudge Chocobit, who last month shared alleged leaked iPhone 12 images showing a revised rear camera array with LiDAR scanner, a smaller front notch, and home screen widgets. This is something I think we've seen all of these leaks already. Fudge claims that Apple has tested iPhone prototypes with USB-C ports, but that these models won't be making it to production. Instead, Apple will stick with Lightning for 1 more year before replacing the port with a smart connector. Actually, I want to click on the smart connector because I don't think I've seen it before, or how. No, is a port included on some of Apple's I see. Okay, so it's already something that's around. The smart connector is designed to provide power and a data connection to accessories like keyboards. So is it kind of like a magnetic thing? Can you guys, I've never owned an iPad, guys. I'm not really familiar with that. So if somebody wants to mention that in chat, again, I don't know everything. This is why I ask you guys too, because, let's engage in that community. Help me understand as well. Okay. So let me scroll down here. Claims of portless future iPhones aren't new. Apple designers are said to ultimately, this is it, right? This is the connector. I see. Okay. Apple designers are said to ultimately be aiming to remove most of the external ports and buttons on the iPhone for a clean, streamlined device with fewer points of potential hardware failure. Wait a minute. If they're going to go portless, does that mean they're going to get rid of the buttons too? They better not, because Apple has such good build quality when it comes to their volume rockers, their power switch, their silent switch. Those are some of my favorite things about the iPhone. Indeed, if wireless charging technology improves in the interim, Apple could potentially get rid of wired charging altogether, and rumors do indicate Apple will release an iPhone without a Lightning port in 2021. According to Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, the highest-end iPhone model coming in 2021 will offer a completely wireless experience. Charging would presumably be done all wirelessly through charging accessories, Qi-based or otherwise. Whether the 2021 iPhone would be Apple's so-called iPhone 13 series or an S-style revision of this year's upcoming iPhone 12 is unknown. The addition of a smart connector, however, is a separate rumor. The use of a smart connector could conceivably complete the transition to a totally wireless system for iPhone with everyday charging and data transfer occurring over induction and wireless, and the smart connector providing a way to attach accessories and cover restore and recovery needs via special adapters. For clarification, smart connector thing on 13 series won't be in the intended way to charge. You'll be expected to go wireless charging mainly. D6X series, iPhone 13 series hasn't really begun proper development yet, so iPhone MagSafe more of a plan at the moment. Portless is coming either way. Okay, I don't want to go through this whole thing here. Let me just read the last paragraph. Rumors have suggested Apple will complete its transition to an all OLED lineup. We've known that for the iPhone 12, a 5.4-inch device, OLED display, right? Triple lens cameras, blah, blah, blah. So, again, I am not surprised to hear that they're sticking one more year with a Lightning port. I've already explained why. Why would they switch over to USB-C? Why would they change everything again when they can just stick with the Lightning port, make more money off of it before going portless? Let me share my thoughts on portless. In my everyday use, I have been using my iPhone 11 Pro as my daily driver for a while now. This is the first time I've used an Apple device as my daily driver since I switched over to Android. Apple has always been my secondary device. And because the iPhone 11 Pro has, pretty much impressed me in 2019, it's been my go-to, and I haven't found anything yet that has come close to it, right? And with that being said, I can share my thoughts on using the iPhone 11 Pro as far as the ports. When I first got it, and when I do photo comparison tests, I was still going wired to move everything over. And then I started using a MacBook Pro, and then I started using AirDrop for everything. AirDrop is amazing how well, I'm surprised how well AirDrop works. I was actually really impressed on how well it transfers files over, and it's real seamless. And it stopped me from using a cable to move files over. Here's the thing though. I have AirPods. I have a set of AirPods Pro, and I have my iPhone 11 Pro. And for both of them, when I charge it, I will always plug up. I still don't use a wireless charging pad. I don't use anything like that. I have a Pixel 4 that's capable of wireless charging. I still connect that as well. I don't know what it is with me. I don't know if it's force of habit for doing it for years, right? But I still like to connect wired. I don't use a wireless. I mean, maybe for me to use wired, you would have to eventually force me to do so. I mean, I use a set of AirPods Pro because I think it's more convenient than using wired headphones at this point, wired earbuds, especially when I was at the gym. When I was at the gym and I was using wired earbuds, I cannot tell you how many times I would be trying to lift weights and the barbell, the wired cable would get, it would get tangled up with the barbell, and they would pop the earbuds out of my ear, or it pop the phone out of my pocket, or disconnect it from my phone. And getting wireless earbuds was finally it solved that problem for me. And now I use it all the time. I mean, I can't go to the gym right now, but every time I go for an hour walk every day. And when I go for a walk, it's the AirPods Pro is what I come with. I'm looking for my wired earbuds because I do use wired earbuds when I'm video conferencing with somebody, or I am doing one of these streams with multiple people and I have to hear them. Then yeah, I'll use wired earbuds, but otherwise I'm always using AirPods Pro. So that's how I feel about it. Here's another good question too, though. Imagine, right? So for you guys that don't know, I used to live in LA, and I lived in Long Beach, so south of LA. And when I lived in Southern California, we'll just say Southern California. When I lived in Southern California, I drove a lot, and me being in Chicago, I don't drive often, right? But imagine when I lived in Southern California, I drove back to Chicago. That was a long ass drive. That was 22,000 miles, about something like that. And it was a lot of hours of driving, and I had to use navigation quite a bit. How am I going to charge my phone? If I had a phone, if the iPhone 13 or whatever was completely portless, how the fuck am I going to charge that phone while I'm using navigation? I mean, yeah, I know that they now have wireless charging mounts, right? So like I could take my iPhone, have it sit up against a magnetic thing that would wirelessly charge it. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't think wireless charging is fast enough to use while I'm using navigation. Well, maybe it is now because there are faster. I mean, look at what is it, the OnePlus 8 Pro, but I don't think the iPhone is using standards at that speed yet. I don't know. I just something that I'm wondering about. I wonder how that would work. Okay, let me go back here. Let me get back into chat. Let me see here. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to be able to go through everything. I see Paul Hendricks is saying Birdman is greater than John Processor. Y says Realme released its millionth new device this week, the Realme 6S. Actually, I think I read about that too. Y. I don't have that as an article. I think I was kind of like tired of talking about Realme, but thank you for sharing. Okay, let me see here. Let me scroll down. Marshall says, I imagine it'll be similar to a MagSafe connector for the iPhone. Yeah, but that's what it looks like here. So let me, sorry guys, I'm just trying to go through everything. Big House Production says wireless chargers, Apple's new hustle. Yep. I mean, Apple knows how to make their money, and that's they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it for years. N4 says iPhone 13 portless, I think. Deepak says, do you guys charge wireless? I rarely do, although it's a commodity. Yeah, I don't blame anyone for charging wireless. Why wouldn't you, right? Especially if you have a wireless pad, go ahead and put it down there. But I still like to, I don't know. It's a force of habit, I think. N4 says, nope, wired is the best. Big House says he uses both. Let's see here. Deepak says Bluetooth earbuds are super convenient, but wireless charging not always useful. Yep, I agree with you here. N4 says I only use Bluetooth headphones for workouts, but now I have this same old PC and I have to use Bluetooth over ear headphones for my mixer. I'm not sure what that is, but I gotcha. I hear ya. Y says I don't like earbuds in general. Wired over ears are my headphones, though I would not mind going wireless, just not earbuds. I hear ya. N4 says, but they sound much better on wired plus active noise cancellation. Paul also says wired is much faster. It's just silly to charge more just for faster wireless charging. Deepak says, I'm an audio engineer. For production, we always use wired. So that's the thing too. Anytime I'm editing video, especially higher production video, I will always use wired headphones for that. I never use wireless for any kind of video editing. Also, just to make sure everything's synced up. So I'm totally on board with that as well. Grant says, I don't want a bunch of wires on my desk, so I've been using wireless charging more lately. Fair enough. And that's a good point too. You guys don't see it here, but like next to me, I just have wires that lay on the floor here, and I just switch it out whenever I'm connecting something or whatever. So yeah. Big House says, that's it, Jerome. Apple wants you to use wireless everything so they can make you buy only from only them. I mean, that is just the fact. I think that's the fact. I mean, Apple's never going to go ahead and say it, but yeah. Okay. Enforce is saying it's Bluetooth over ear headphones. I gotcha, man. I gotcha. Okay. So yeah. I see the benefit in having them. I also see why we don't need to use them all the time. So yeah. Deepak says here, I just got Sony 1000 XM3 awesome noise canceling headphones. Is that the one that everyone keeps talking about? I think that's the one that everyone keeps raving about, right? The W something. Isn't it a couple $100? I don't have the money for it right now. So even though I'd love to test them out, I've heard good things though. I've heard good things about it. Okay, let's move on, guys. Where are we at? Wow, we're at 52 minutes here. Okay, I'm not going to be able to go through everything here. So let me kind of pick. I know ARM was talking about something new in their chipset design, but I don't really want to go through that right now. There is this article from Extreme Tech that's talking about the new Moto Razr. So yeah, this shouldn't be a surprise either. There's a new Razr coming out, and it's going to have I'm enlarging the wrong thing here. So yeah, there's going to be another generation of the Razr coming out. and it's going to have 5G, because why isn't going to have 5G? Everyone is on the 5G bandwagon, and that just means it's going to be more expensive. How much more expensive can this phone be? But maybe it won't be, because, you know, now foldables are a thing, and maybe they're going to start dropping their prices, but we'll see. Motorola was one of the first major smartphone makers to jump on the foldable phone bandwagon by reviving its long-dead Razr brand. The foldable Razr earned points for its slick design, but the specs and durability left something to be desired. The current Razr device has a large 6.2-inch foldable OLED. Although many owners have found the hardware to be less reliable than it ought to be for $1,500. Guys, $1,500 so you can have a foldable phone just doesn't make any sense to me. Not only that, but the specs on that phone it leaves a lot to be desired. A Motorola executive confirmed last week that a second-gen Razr was on the way, but a separate leak revealed some details of the device. It's codenamed Smith. Like the first-gen phone, it'll be a clamshell-style folder with a large OLED display and a smaller screen on the exterior. The camera will get a big boost from the 16-megapixel and 5-megapixel selfie on the current Razr. Sources peg the new phone as having a 20-megapixel selfie and 48-megapixel ISO cell. Bright GM1 is the primary. The current Razr uses a Snap 710, so again, not the best hardware in it, which is much less powerful than you'd expect for the $1,500 asking price. Imagine spending $1,500 on a phone and you get the Snapdragon 710 in there. It sports 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The new Razr should give all those specs with a boost. With 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and a Snapdragon 765. So here again, we're seeing a Snap 765, which is what's going to be on the Pixel 5 apparently, maybe the 768, we don't know. But still, a Snapdragon 765, $1,500 or whatever it's going to be 4 figures, I'm assuming, which is still a ton of money. The addition of a Snap 765 means 5G is on the menu for this phone. While the 765 can do millimeter wave 5G, it's not as fast as the 865 in that respect. It's also unclear whether current millimeter wave antennas could fit in a folding phone like the Razr. Good point. Still, it'll at least support sub-6. I'm done talking about 5G because nobody gives a fuck. It's not the number one thing in the world right now. And the fact that it's going to have 5G in it is, you know, big fucking deal for me. Again, guys, it's not the thing to be buying a phone for. So let's move on here. I saw this, the Note 20. I mean, this came out yesterday, right? And there were renders for this Note 20 Plus, and goddamn, this phone is gigantic. At one point when I first saw this picture, I kind of laughed because I'm like, God, this phone is just so goddamn big. Okay, so they're CAD drawings, right? They're renders. So last year's Note 10 Plus was truly a thing of beauty with an amazing screen and superlative industrial design. And judging by some high quality and completely unofficial renders of the Note 20 Plus, it looks like Samsung won't be changing too much in 2020. These renders come from noted leaker OnLeaks in collab with phone case maker Pig2. As with all renders based on league CAD drawings, they should be taken with a pinch of salt, but the design they suggest for the Note 20 Plus seems reasonable enough. It's big and it's very rectangular, very small bezels. Again, a top hole punch design, but it looks nice, right? It just looks like a big fucking phone. Like, it is huge. The most obvious feature is the big, nearly edge to edge display, which is nice, at least to know, with curved bezels, sloping sides, and a small central hole punch cutout for the selfie camera that's near identical to the 2019 design. The top and bottom edge also look the same as that of the Note 10 Plus, with a speaker grill, charging port, and space for the signature S Pen stylus. In terms of size, so it's going to be slightly bigger than the 10 Plus with a 6.9-inch display instead of last year's 6.8-inch AMOLED screen. They're not going to have a 7-inch version of it. 6.9 is what they're going to go at. The most noticeable change, though, is the camera module on the rear of the device, which is much bigger than that of the 2019 Note Plus. In the Note 10 and Note 10 Plus, this module was a pretty slim oval containing 3 lenses. I I don't want to go through this entire thing. What do you guys think of that module in the back? I mean, it's very striking to say the least. Some people might call it ugly. I mean, it's not the best looking either. I'm not a big fan of like this rectangular design or module, but I don't know. Maybe part of me has gotten used to it, and I'm like, it is what it is. I don't know. Apparently, though, this new Note 20 is going to fix the autofocusing issues that the S20 Ultra had. So at least that'll be fixed, or at least that'll be improved. Why the S20 Ultra has those issues at $1,400 boggles my mind. But I guess you can be, well, I don't want to say you're going to be assured that when you get a Note 20 that it's going to fix all the camera woes that the S20 Ultra has. But it also makes me wonder, because, right, the Note 20 is typically priced higher than the S20, or the Note series phones are typically priced higher than the Galaxy S series, right? So what is this going to price at? Is this going to be a $1,500 phone? The Note 20 Ultra, is that going to be $1,500? Is everything going to be $100 more? Is the Note 20 the basic Note 20? Is that going to be an $1,100 phone? It's so expensive for these phones, guys, and I just cannot see myself spending money on one of these, especially if I just don't know how good the camera is going to be on this phone. It's a hard sell for me. Okay. Anyway, let me go into chat here. Let me see what you guys have to say. Enforce says it's kind of insulting paying $1,500 for a Snapdragon 710. I agree. Big House says a new Razr. The last one didn't sell. The Galaxy Z Flip killed it in sales. Right? 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. Terrence says because of the 5G thing, I'm not upgrading. I'm sticking with my 2.5-year-old phone and only upgrade on a need to basis. Terrence, honestly, that's the smart thing to do. I mean, why would anyone? I mean, unless you have money to spend, unless you got deep pockets, really, why would people be spending money right now, especially in these times? Motorola research and development personnel should be fired. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Motorola anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Motorola should be taken away from Lenovo. I would love to see that. Lenovo, I think, just completely destroyed Motorola. When Google bought Motorola out, I thought good things were going to happen. I really did. I thought, goddamn, Motorola and Google getting together, now we're going to get some good shit. And then Google just, I don't know what Google did. They kind of like stripped them naked and then left them to whoever, and then Lenovo picked them up. So yeah, I don't know. Why 2019 says the Z Flip killed the last Razr in specs. Probably this one too, because of 765 and a horrible battery, like not even 3,000 milliamp hours on this rumored Razr that is more expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I hear you though. Looks exactly like a Note 10 Plus with an uglier camera module. Yeah, it also makes me wonder, like, do we really need yearly releases on phones? I mean, I don't mind technology. I don't mind phones coming out and updating their models or whatever, but they always make it sound like it's the latest and greatest thing. And I guess that's what you have to do as a marketer, but goddamn, it's a disservice to consumers putting these phones out year after year where really you're not giving us much more. What are you giving us more of? 5G that people can't really take advantage of, and you're going to charge more for it? Like, no, thank you. It's okay. I'll pass. Grant says snooze alert. Big House says, I like the Note 20 design, but that huge rectangle needs to go. Without a doubt, it looks like a stove. Oh my God. Now I see it. It does look like a stove. Holy shit. I didn't think about that. We are reaching iPad mini levels. I could see that. That thing is a huge slab. Maybe you can cook a pizza on that stove. I never thought about that. That's a good way to point out what that thing looks like. Note 20 is automatically going to be expensive and impressive, and I don't want one. Paul Hendrick says bacon and egg edition. Pixel 5 should do what others are not doing, a minimalistic phone. Thank you. Yes, I want to see a minimalistic phone. I will take that any day over some of these $1,000 phones. I completely agree. Deepak says the Moto Nexus 6 was a solid device. It was solid, except that phone was so big, Deepak. That phone was so big. I was so happy to see Motorola and Nexus do something together. But I really would have appreciated a smaller design on a phone. Yeah, and Force says Moto and Google were decent. Y says my dream is a 768G for the Pixel 5 at $499. Yes, I'm on board with that, and 579 and the 855 plus for the 5XL or the 5 Pro, as I think it should be called, or okay, at 699 and 7. I mean, this is wishful thinking though. Why? I would love these things too. I don't see any of it happening. The more I read about it, the more I see that 768 is even. I don't think the 768 is going to be a thing on the Pixel 5. I want to be proven wrong, but I think it's going to be the 765G, and I think it's probably going to be priced at $599, maybe. I don't see the $499 price point coming. Although I would love it, I just don't see it happening. But that's my dream too. That is wishful thinking. We'll see. And Forrest says, you're talking about Google here. That's impossible. TV Cooper, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you. Phone should come out every other year. Just a money grab now. Yep. Totally on board. I totally feel you. It's totally a money grab. Big House also says stop releasing phones every 3 to 6 months and work on updates on what you have. But then how are they going to make money, Big House? How are they going to make huge amounts of money and squeeze everything that they can out of us? I agree, man. I mean, look at that Motorola Edge Plus. Look at all the shit they got when they announced that it was only going to get 1 year of updates. And then they said they'll give us 2 years of updates for the $1,000 plus phone. Deepak says, yeah, that Nexus 6 was an aircraft carrier. It was pretty big. Jerome grinding his teeth. Oh, God. I hope they bring the hard drive or the internal storage to 256 gigs on the Pixel 5. I hope so too. I really don't know if they will. I guess we'll see. Deepak says, I think the 4A will cannibalize their flagship Pixel 5. And you want to know, big reason for that is because they're not releasing the Pixel 4A right now. I think they could at least minimize that cannibalization if they release that Pixel 4A right now. And that is also why, well, you know what though, Deepak? You could still be right. I think the only reason the Pixel 5 will stand out is if the Pixel 5 is going to be a standout phone. If it's going to have the specs and the camera, right? And the price point to completely overshadow the Pixel 4A. Otherwise, people will say to themselves, why would I buy a Pixel 5 when I can buy a Pixel 4A for $300 cheaper or whatever it ends up pricing at? So I totally agree with you. Infor says, damn, Google, get us a good mid-range phone with 3+ years of software support. Is it too hard? It might be for Google at an affordable price. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's move on here, guys. I have a couple stories left, and then we might close it out. Actually, before I talk about this Nokia, I thought I talked about this yesterday, but I don't think I did. Real quick, I do want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Everybody who's watching the stream, if you guys haven't already, please feel free to like the video. Liking the video helps me in an algorithmic kind of way, aka I think it helps people find the chat, find the stream. So please feel free to like the video if you can. If you haven't already, be a subscriber. I do stream Mondays through Fridays. We talk about tech. We chat in here. We engage with the community. It's a whole great bunch of folks. I just said the word folks. It's a great bunch of people. So feel free to say hi. These guys don't bite, and we try to be civil and we try to have a good conversation and talk about just relevant stuff, and I try to answer questions, so feel free to be a subscriber. And before I switch over, real quick, if you see green in someone's name and you see a red Chicago star, that is because they are a member of my channel, and you can be a member too for as little as 99 cents a month. And all you got to do is be a member of the channel by clicking that join button. You'll get that red Chicago star. You'll get that green next to your name. You'll get to use custom emoji. You'll get your name on the intro and outro of every one of my live streams. All you got to do is click that join button. If you can't find that join button, all you got to do then is go to youtube.com/PhoneJerome/join. There are other perks as well. You got to read into the tiers if you go into it. And okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Nokia. Nokia is a phone that I have been, for you guys that don't know, I have been a supporter. I was a big Nokia fanboy for a while. And in a lot of ways, I wish I could be again. I see Big House with the $5 super chat. Big House, great info. Got to support. Big House with the $5 super chat. Big House, thank you so much for the support, man. Appreciate it. You have been a longtime supporter as well. I was saying that to Levin Williams, Brian Lau as well. All you guys have been such great supporters, and just to even support that extra step, going that extra mile means a lot to me. So Big House Productions, thank you so much, man. I'll be sure to keep adding you onto the whole intro outro stuff. You know how that goes, but Big House, thank you so much. Thank you. So let's continue on with Nokia. Before the iPhone came out, before the iPhone was even a thing, I was a Nokia fanboy for the longest time. And then I fell out of Nokia once Apple got in the game and once Android came into the game as well with their Nexus lineup. And now that Nokia has kind of figured out what they've been wanting to do, figure it out is probably not the best term, but Nokia, what I like about Nokia right now is they go stock Android, right? They're in the Android One ecosystem. So they give, and I'm a stock Android guy. That's what I like to see. And I want to buy a Nokia phone that has stock Android that's going to be worth it for me. I don't know much about these lineups. I know there's like a Nokia 6 point something. I think there's a 7 point something. And I don't know if I know there's a 9, right? But is there 8 series, their mid-range? Well, anyway, this is talking about something called the Nokia 8.3 5G. Should be launching very soon. I know nothing about Nokias today, guys. So feel free to help me in the chat if you want. The Nokia 8.3 5G was announced as the company's first 5G smartphone a few months ago. Unfortunately, there's been a pretty big delay on availability of the phone. Nokia declined to reveal any details about when you could actually get your hands on their latest phone, so we were left in the dark. Now we're finally getting some word from Nokia about when the Nokia 8.3 5G will go on sale. During its unveiling in March, Nokia said the phone would be available sometime in the summer for €599. We're getting pretty close to the summer, and Nokia is ramping up their social media efforts to hype the device back up to launch levels. So what is €599? Is that like $650? Something like that, US? I'm assuming somewhere around there. So wait, actually at $650 US, what chipset is going to come in here? I haven't seen this, so I mean, it looks nice. It looks different. They're known for their like circular module or whatever, but it doesn't look bad. I just don't know anything about it, and I haven't used a Nokia in forever, so I just don't know how well their phones are today. The account also mentions that the phone will be, quote, soon available. That's not concrete just yet, and summer lasts a while, so we're still working with a general time frame, not a specific date. But if we're close to that launch window and Nokia is ready to start talking about the phone again, you can bet this will come sooner rather than later. So yeah, I would welcome a Nokia phone as long as it was priced right and it had a good camera and it had stock Android. I'd be on board. I don't know much about it, so we'll see. Okay, so let's see here. Deepak says, I still got a Nokia 808 PureView and a Lumia 1020. Superb camera phones. That's good to know. I've heard things about it. I've never had any of those. Paul was saying, but all first world problems, though. Pixel 4a 5. You're right. It is. always big role or always first world problems when it comes to us talking about smartphones all day. I haven't had a Nokia device since the Microsoft days. I want to try one though. I want to try one too. I want to see how they perform. 640-ish. Okay, so yeah, just about. I see. Y says, I love the oh so orange color of the 4. That's what I have. Where is my Pixel 4? Charging somewhere maybe. And I hope the 5 gets a big color arrangement like blue, orange, black, white, purplish would be a good color lineup and something that can be a good strat. Yeah, I mean, I like their color lineup. I've been pretty happy with their colors that they've been putting out. I like the little punch of color that they put even on just like a phone that's all white or all black. I think Google has done good there. But what about the rest of what about the rest of their stuff? That's the big question. Daniel says, you covering the SpaceX crew launch tomorrow? You know what? I don't know. Maybe that's not a bad idea, Daniel. I'll have to look into it. I have to actually see what time that is. That's not bad to cover. That would be kind of fun to cover, actually. That's a good thing to bring up. I wouldn't mind doing that. If I do that, you should hop on, man. You know a good amount about that. I don't know. We'll talk. Daniel, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. For you guys that don't know, Daniel and I, we work together. Daniel's the head of the news organization. The news organization here in Chicago called Hardlands Media. We've been working together for a while. Anyway, Daniel, thanks for bringing that up. I'll take a look into it. Okay, so let's see. U.S. Astronauts flying to ISS from the U.S. for the first time in decades. Yeah, no. The big news, man. I'll look into it. We'll see. So Hopkins says, hey, Hopkins, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. That is the thing. Camera will suck big time. Do they really? Cameras are no good on Nokias? I thought some of them were decent. These HMD Nokias don't have comparable cameras to the Lumia lineup. Damn, that's sad. Is it that bad? They're really that bad? Even, well, I don't know what the price on these, well, $650. So for that price point, it's going to have a shitty camera. That sucks. I don't like hearing that. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I want to see a good Nokia phone. I would love to try it out just to see what their build quality is like and, you know, how things have been. But with the whole HMD thing, yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about it either. Daniel says, message me. I'd love to join the cast. Yeah, I'll let you know. I just got to see what my time frame is and how everything's going, but I'll let you know for sure. That might be fun, man. Big House says, I want to see a red Pixel phone. Yes, me too. Red is one of my favorites. I had that red iPhone SE and then the red iPhone or the red OnePlus 6. That was one of my favorite phones too. Y says meant to say strategy. Yeah, but didn't have enough letters. No worries, man. You're good. Deepak says even the Lumia 970 had an excellent camera. See, I don't know anything about those phones. I was out of that part, or I just didn't involve myself in those phones when they came out at the time. So, okay, guys, let's move on here. Yeah, okay. So I actually am bringing this up because of Mint Arcade, and I'm assuming Mint Arcade, maybe he dipped. Mint Arcade lives, where is it? Holland, I think. And it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And even to see him hop in the chat here because he stays up it's really nice of him to do so. I know he's just been catching the replays, but he messages to me because I think he might be on board with this Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. If you guys aren't aware of it, this is, I guess, their flagship that's coming up. But goddamn, it's so expensive, $1,200. So yeah, it's going to be launching in the US on July 24th. It doesn't have 5G. Again, I don't really care much about that, but regardless, 5G, no 5G, $1,200 is still expensive. And I'm not going to really go through this article because what I want to talk about is Mint Arcade linked me to a camera samples that somebody Digital Photography Review. I don't know if you guys are aware of that site, but they've been around for a long time. They Paul says no, here in Holland it's 9:35. Damn, then I don't know where Mint Arcade lives at, because I think it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something super late over there. But Paul, thanks for letting me know. Okay. So Sony priced Xperia 1 Mark II 5G at $1,200 in the US. Okay, so it has 5G, just not millimeter wave. Pre-order start on June 1st. Okay, so $1,200. It's going to have a 6.5 inch 4K HDR OLED, 21:9 aspect ratio. It has a 12 megapixel triple camera array on the back. And it can shoot up to 20 frames per second in burst mode and calculate autofocus, auto exposure at up to 60 times per second. I don't know if is that all we know for it right now? Oh, it has a Snapdragon 865 chipset. So it has high-end specs, but still just really expensive. And so here's the thing is Mint Arcade gave me this link about samples in the gallery. And I haven't really had a chance to look at it, but digital photography review, I guess, got their hands on the phone and they took a couple samples. So I don't know how big. Is it 100% zoom? Okay. Oh, I see. I wish there was an easier way to do that. So yeah, like, I mean, this shot looks pretty good, right? I'm just going to give you initial thoughts. I'm not really going to like spend a ton of time on it. Ooh. Okay. So the focus is kind of over here. I mean, it's not bad from what I'm. Ooh, this night shot is really soft. The thing about this phone is the fact that, so the reason I kind of got excited for this Xperia 1 Mark II is the fact that at least from what I've been reading, what we've been sharing is they were going to be using technology from the Sony Alpha cameras. And those alpha cameras, the mirrorless cameras that Sony has been releasing, have been excellent. And I think they were going to be using some of that technology into the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II. But this shot is not. This shot is not the best looking, especially for a night shot. And there seems to be a good amount of light, unless this was in a really dark environment. But that's pretty soft. That is not the best looking shot there. I mean, the indoor shot looks okay. It's a little low on exposure. I don't know. They're not that impressive, honestly, from what I'm seeing. I mean, they're not bad, but again, guys, like, this is a $1,200 phone. And see, like, even here, the detail isn't as, I mean, it's not bad. It's just like, it's not, I'm sorry. I have the wrong screen on there. The shots, I'll go back so you guys can see some of this stuff. They don't scream, this is worth $1,200 to me, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm looking at it and it's like, yeah, they're decent, but they're not the best. I mean, I know you guys are looking at a smaller screen and it's also on a stream, so you're not going to be seeing the best things either, but they're not amazing. They're not remarkable. I mean, it's hard for me to give my opinion on it without actually taking photos myself, showing you guys what I find from it. But to know that it was going to be using some of Sony Alpha's technology, I don't know if I'm seeing it here. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to give an assessment, because if something looks good for me from the start, I'll say it, out loud. Oh man, that looks awesome. That looks great. But I'm not really that impressed with it. But it's the first place I'm seeing it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I need to see more samples and see. But I do want to thank Mint Arcade for sharing that with me. I didn't know that somebody actually had a sample gallery out. So we'll see though. We'll see how it turns out. So okay, let me scroll back up here. Sony has lost their minds, but they've always been pricing their phones pretty expensive. It's always been up there when it comes to price. DP Review is the best photography website. Did they praise the Sony? So I don't know. I don't think, did I miss what they were actually saying about the phone? No, we got our hands on Sony's new Xperia 1 Mark II. Maybe it's in this article here, which features super fast burst shooting and subject recognition with eye autofocus. A triple camera design offers 16 millimeter, 24 millimeter, and 70 millimeter equivalent focal lengths, and a new Photography Pro photo app provides full manual control and a user interface that will be familiar to Sony shooters. So like here's the thing, maybe they were all shot in auto. Maybe they were all shot in auto and it'll come out better in manual mode. But like, even for me who shoots with my, when I shoot, so on my DSLR with my Canon, I always shoot manual, complete manual, 100% manual. But when I shoot with my camera phones, I always shoot in auto. That's how I shoot in. But maybe with this, maybe it's better to use it in manual mode. Maybe then you shoot in RAW, edit it, and that's how you get the best out of it. But I was still hoping for better shots in auto mode. I don't know, guys. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to go off of just a sample set, but it didn't, to be honest with you, at least from what I'm seeing, it didn't shock me. It didn't amaze me. It's like, okay, they're good photos, but like there's also only one night shot, so I don't know how well it does at night. Yeah, DB Cooper says that Sony camera is going to be the truth. We'll see. I hope so. if it is, so that, and I've said this before, if I can find a phone that has a camera that will outperform like my iPhone 11 Pro, I would love to test it out. I mean, I would probably try to spend the money just to see if something can beat out what I consider is the best right now. So, okay. Grant says, I have a soft spot for Sony, but their cameras are always close, but not quite there. Hoping they truly made a leap with the Xperia 1 Mark II. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Deepak says, it better be good. $1,200 is a lot of money. I'd be curious rather about the Xperia 10 Mark II. Xperia 1 Mark II is out of the question for me. I feel the mid-range Xperia 10 Mark II is left out of the hype. That's funny that's how they name it. You would think that the Xperia 10 Mark II would be the higher version. I don't know the naming convention anymore of Sony. It's been a while since I've messed with any of their phones. Wise says, hopefully if the iPhone 12 rumors are true, prices go down and we don't get that many $1,200 phones or $1,200 and more phones like the Xperia 1 Mark II. Yeah, I mean, I think that Xperia 1, or I think that iPhone 12 rumor is going to be true. 650 starting point. 650 starting price point. I mean, fingers crossed, but for some reason, I don't know why, but I feel confident that that's what it's going to be priced at. To the fact that the iPhone 11 is $700 and then the iPhone 11 Pro is $1,000, I can't see why Apple wouldn't take that stance and price the iPhone 12 at $650. I mean, if anything, they'll just price it at $700 again, and I still think that would be a decent buy. Okay, Hopkins says here, the problem is from the price of this, you can get a mid-range Pixel phone or last year's flagships and a Sony or whatever mirrorless camera. That's actually a really good point too, Hopkins. That's well said. Auto on a phone should be on point. I'm not messing with manual mode on a phone too much. You know what? I'm in the same boat, Grant. That's how it is for me. For the most part, 99% of the time I'm shooting in auto. I don't know how often. The only time I really rarely ever do anything else than shoot in auto is tap to focus. And tap to focus, that's not really going in manual. I'm just tapping to focus. I'm just picking my focus point there. So yeah, I'm in the same boat. I feel the same way. Deepak says, for me, a smartphone camera is meant for capturing moments in auto mode. That's why iPhones and Pixels are awesome. Completely agree. You know, it's funny. Sometimes when I do these camera reviews, I mean, I don't really go through comments as much as I used to anymore, just because I'm so busy anyway. But for the most part, everyone can have their opinion. But I remember for a while, people are like, well, you should do this to the phone. You should set that up. Why are you doing it? And it's like, dude, like this is I'm doing it in the most unbiased, most at least in my opinion, the most unbiased and most natural, not natural, but like consistent way, right? When I shoot my shots and I compare them, I do everything as fair as I can. And it's always funny to see people say, that's not the phone you shot it with. Oh, he's probably using a different iPhone. Oh, he's using last year's Pixel. Oh, his Pixel's broken. why would you shoot it in that mode and not in this mode? And it's like, oh my God, I can't with these people. I can't. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see. $1,200 is a lot for this Xperia 1 Mark II. Like, let's not hide the fact that it's an expensive ass phone and there might be better alternatives than the Xperia 1 Mark II. I would love to see Sony get back in the game and have something that's worthwhile, but to charge that much for a phone and to know that there are other phones out there that might be, better performing at a better price. I mean, we were just talking about the mid-range Xperia 10 Mark II. Maybe that's the better choice. I don't know. So, Grant says the best comments are you should use Gcam. I mean, and here's the thing though, at least that has some validity to it, because for the most part, every time I use Gcam, that's usually when I get better shots. So at least that's true. So I can't blame people with that. But I also want to just reply and be like, yeah, dude, I will. It's coming. I usually take, I usually take photos. Using Gcam. So anyway, guys, I think that might be it for today. Before I go, I do want to thank everybody again for joining the stream, joining the chat, being part of the squad, the crew, whatever. I'm always bad at these outros. I'm not the best at saying how I feel here, but I do want to thank everybody again for joining. It was a good hour. We covered a lot. We had a lot to talk about. Before I do go, though, again, guys, if you haven't liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe. If you haven't been if you're thinking about being a member, hit that join button, be a member, be part of the crew, squad, team, community, engage in chat, say hi, say what's up. I think a stream that has a good community is a stronger one, and I appreciate all of that. For everyone that's joined in chat, thank you so much. For people that super chatted today, thank you so much again as well. That going that extra mile, whatever step, means a lot to me. And come back tomorrow. We're going to talk more we're going to talk more tech tomorrow. We'll go through this again. We'll talk more news. We'll do the thing. we'll say what's up to everybody. And I think that's it. Again, I'm always bad at these things. So instead, I'll give an outro. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow around the same time. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.